So I'm sitting here thinking now, maybe I should do an audio show. You guys don't have to look at my ugly puss moving around every time I say something. And for the topic of today's show, I'm thinking about detecting in general. I was reading on the forums today a man who talked about three different things you should do as a new detectorist and that you should follow at all times. And I must admit, I hadn't really thought of this, typical noob. But now that I've explored this, I understand it, having seen some of the things that can go on. One of the tips, and I'll talk about that now, is to not reveal your hunting spots on video or otherwise. This hasn't been a real problem for me because my initial detecting since I've gotten back into the hobby have been on the land here as it stands. I haven't ventured off into parks or other venues yet, though I do have a few in mind, but I won't mention them here. I could see where that would be very important. You shouldn't really reveal where you're hunting until you have finished with it, because you go and blab that to everybody out there on the forums and on YouTube, and then you go back there a day or two later, you'll find 5 or 6 other people out there with detectors that watched your video, possibly. If you're a popular detectorist, which I am not. But you should never, ever do live updates. This place is producing lots of silver and da-da-da-da, because you're almost guaranteed somebody is going to see that, and if they're local to you, they're going to go and they're going to basically undermine your hunting site. The same phenomena occurs, and I know this for a fact because my grandfather was a tournament bass fisherman. You never told anybody about the good spots, and you get there fast, and you do what you got to do. But one of the things that would happen is other people would see you fishing, and if they saw you catching fish there, here come 3 or 4 other boats to fish in the same spot you're at, all around you. We had a derogatory term for that years ago. I'm not going to say it here because it's an ugly term. But it was called fishing. Yeah. I'll let you fill in the blanks. But anyway, I could see the same thing happening with detecting. I'll tell you something I saw years ago when I first got introduced to the hobby of metal detecting. I saw an old man on the beach. And he was walking along, and he had his scoop, and he had his detector, and he found a ring. He found a ring. He exclaimed out loud. But what it did when he started digging that up, and then he started finding other things, and he started digging them up, it started bringing people along. People were asking what he was doing. He made the mistake of saying what he was doing and what he was finding. And then in the next couple of days, there's 5 or 6 people walking the beach, with metal detectors walking the beach. I guess they decided, hey, this is pretty cool. I'll go get a cheap detector and I'll go in here and I'll work this spot. God knows how many years that old man had worked that spot. It was kind of his little private spot, I guess. You don't own the beach, but simply through the act of exclaiming about his finds and telling people what he found, he could have just said, I'm finding junk, nothing but pull tabs, and that probably would have never happened. But he went and showed off the ring that he found, and within a day or two, there were people all over there with detectors, little Radio Shackers, and God knows what else. So he kind of, through his own actions, defiled the spot he was on, kind of just corrupted it. So that gets into the second tip. Don't immediately show people what you find. Wait until you've worked the area real good, then talk about your finds. Because if you do that while you're working the area, you have just sabotaged your hunt if you're going to be there for a while. Wait until you've played it out as much as you want to play it out. That doesn't mean... I differ here from other people. The greedy side of me says I want to deplete this area of every piece of silver or precious metal I can find. But then the ethical side of me says, there's a lot of kids and other people who are legitimately getting into the hobby just for the heck of it. And wouldn't it really be something? Wouldn't it just blow their mind to find a ring or a piece of silver on the ground, down in there somewhere? So I've decided I'm going to try not to completely deplete an area. I'm going to leave a little for the next guy. I think that works. So that's my thought on that. Now, here is something that was not mentioned in the tips. If you have a CCL and you're going to be detecting in a sketchy area, I'm in a sketchy area. The people here are very poor and very, very drug addicted. They're always looking for something that they can turn into money to buy their next fix. Don't be the guy out there walking with a pouch and with a metal detector, and when they start coming around and asking questions, like I said, adhere to those. But if you have a CCL, keep you a weapon on you hidden around, at least around here I would. I don't go detecting without it. It's always hidden somewhere on my person. Because, number one, that metal detector you got, that'll fetch a pretty good price at a pawn shop. Number two, if you found any silver or anything of value in that pouch, they're going to knock you in the head to take it. That's just the reality of how it is out here, where I am. Deep East Texas, especially around, Jasper and Beaumont and, the Jasper, Newton, Kirbyville Triangle and places around a radius from there. A lot of these people, they see somebody with a metal detector, there's possible opportunity there. Don't detect at night in places like this. You're liable to get yourself knocked on the head. They're kind of desperate out here. So if you do detect, try to detect without being seen by people in general. I don't go out in my front yard with a detector. I go into the back of the property. I have 5 acres of land out here I can detect, so I stay way the heck away from the road with that equipment. I don't need people around here knowing that I have that equipment, because the association that, he's got a metal detector, he may have something valuable at his house just a little ways down the road that I can steal for drug money. Just the modern times, the modern signs of the times that you have to watch out for, man. It's kind of like you walk down the road with a fishing pole on your shoulder, people are going to know you're going fishing, you're going to catch fish. You walk down the road with a metal detector on your shoulder, people are going to know you're hunting precious metals, and they're going to watch where you go, So, a bit of common sense nowadays. If you go to an impoverished area, be careful. Be careful. And if you have a license, arm yourself with some small caliber firearm. Just something you can put in a pocket, or maybe you can even put it in your fines pouch, So, I don't know. You want it where you can access it, but you don't want it showing out there. That's the whole point of a concealed weapon permit. Other noob mistakes. I can't think of any other ones right off the top of my head. This is the first audio show I've ever done, and I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. So, but that's just the initial things that I've realized doing what I'm doing. The other thing, don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. I can tell you, back when I was a teenager, I did metal detecting, and all I ever found was pop tops and beaver tails and crushed cans, and every once in a great while I'd find something really cool. I found a lot of clad. A lot of clad. And I usually just, at the end of the day, if I had enough, I'd go buy a soda with it or something. You find silver, though, put that in your pocket. The melt value of silver is getting better and better every day. Considering our currency is devaluing so fast, most silver coins are worth many times their face value. So hang on to that silver. Hang on to that. There's a market for it, and it'll protect you. It won't protect you as good as gold will, but having a little real silver, in your assets. Don't store it at your house. Go get something, or find I tell you, I've been jilted by banks a couple of times, and I can't trust a bank anymore, even with a safety deposit box, when I start to hear about the new laws that are being enacted, you know. So find you a secure location for your silver. I don't keep it anywhere on my property. So somebody could break into this place, they wouldn't find anything but junk. Never, ever, ever store your big assets on site. As that's one of the things I've started to teach myself about this, you know. Because people do speculate when they see you walking around with a detector. And around here, people know people. You may not know them, but they know you. People see you going around, pretty soon they form an association. Especially when you're like me and you have albinism and you stand out in the community. Everybody's going to know you. Don't put your personal worth where you live. So you just got to take a few steps, especially if you're a conspicuous person, you know. So that's all I can think of to say on this short little segment. I've reached 11 minutes, and I don't want to bore you guys any further. I have picked up this incredible hobby, and I'm really loving the heck out of it, and I encourage anybody, even a good cheap detector, if you find a good spot to search, you don't have to go down 3-4 feet. Get you a good detector that can pick up maybe down to about 12 inches or 6 to 9. If you don't know whether you're going to fully pursue the hobby, if it becomes a futility to you or a frustration, at least you can put that in the closet or give it to somebody, and it's not going to cost you a lot. If you plan on getting into the hobby and really getting into it, start out with a mid-grade detector. Go out and get you. It was called the Time Ranger. I think now it's called the Titan 9000. It's made by Bounty Hunter. And Bounty Hunter has a lot of other basic detectors that don't cost a fortune but will do a good job. They'll get your feet wet, and you'll know real fast after that first detector whether you want to get into it as a hobby or not. If you do, it's enjoyable. You're going to learn all kinds of things you didn't realize, you know. Just because I've started separating copper from clad, I just found a clad penny in there. It's 199 is the date, and the fourth digit is gone off of it. Those are worth a little bit. People will buy those on eBay. I've seen them go anywhere from $8 to $70. And there was one guy, because of the numerous errors on the one he found, he got $115 for a penny. So yeah, there's money in it. You can make the hobby pay for itself. Anyway, I'll let y'all go. We're now going on 13 minutes. And y'all have a good day. And let me know what you think of this.